On August 15th, 1947, India met her destiny and became a free nation in the world. Dr. Ambedkar was elected to the Constituent Assembly of India in October 1946. His outstanding moment came when he was elected and made chairman of the committee to draft the Constitution. Ambedkar's extensive knowledge of world history, his profound commitment to the universal democratic principles, and concern for safeguarding the human and political rights of the minorities went into the monumental work of drafting the document. Constituent Assembly, in the name of the people of India, adopted the Constitution with its 395 articles and 8 schedules on November 26, 1949. No less than Dr. Rajendra Prasad, President of the Constituent Assembly, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister of the interim government, paid glowing tributes to Dr. Ambedkar.
Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, citizens assembled. Whereas the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic, adopted, enacted, and gave to themselves on the 26th day of November 1949 in their Constituent Assembly the Constitution of India, and whereas it has been declared by the said Constitution that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states comprising within the union the territories which were hitherto the governors' provinces, the Indian states and the chief commissioners' provinces. And whereas This, the 26th day of January 1950, has been fixed for the commencement of the said Constitution. Now, therefore, it is hereby proclaimed that on and from this, the 26th day of January 1950, India, that is Bharat, shall be a sovereign, democratic republic, and the Union and its component parts, the state, shall exercise all powers and functions of government and administration in accordance with the provisions of the said Constitution.
Because of his hard work, dedication and vision, Dr. Ambedkar's drafting of the Indian Constitution has enabled to enshrine constitutional guarantees and protections for the wide range of civil liberties for individual citizens, including freedom of religion, the abolition of untouchability, and the outlawing of all forms of discriminations. So therefore, Dr. Ambedkar can be rightly called the father of Indian Constitution.
His reply in the House on the prolonged discussion of the draft is considered among the remarkable speeches in India's parliamentary history.
As the ultimate goal is concerned, I think none of us need have any doubt. But my fear, which I must express clearly, is this. Our difficulty, as I said, is not about the ultimate future. Our difficulty is how to make the heterogeneous mass that we have today take a decision in common and march in a cooperative way on that road which is bound to lead us to unity. Our difficulty is not with regard to the ultimate. Our difficulty is with regard to the beginning. Mr. Chairman, therefore, I should have thought, or in order to induce every party, every section in this country, it would be an act of greatest statesman together. And it is for that I propose to make this appeal. Let us leave aside slogans. Let us leave aside words which frighten people. Let us even make concession to the prejudices of our opponents. Bring them in so that they may willingly join with us on marching upon that road, which, as I said, if we walk long enough, it is because I want all of us to realize that whether we are right or wrong, whether the position that we take is consonance with our legal rights, whether that accords with the statement of May 16th or December 16th. Leave all that aside. This is too big a question to be reduced to the position of mere legality. It is not a legal question. I say leave aside all these considerations and make some attempt whereby those who are not prepared to come, the questions which were raised, which struck me so well that I took the trouble of taking them down on a note paper. The one question was, it was asked, I think, by my friend, the Prime Minister of Bihar, who spoke yesterday in this assembly. He said, how can this resolution prevent the League from coming into the Constituent Assembly. Today, my friend Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee asked another question. Is this resolution inconsistent with the Cabinet Mission's proposal? Sir, I think they were very important questions. And they I think ought to be answered. And answered categorically. I do maintain that this resolution, whether it is intended to bring about the result or not, whether it is the result of cold calculation, or whether it is a mere matter of accident, is bound to have the result of keeping the Muslim League out. And I'll substantiate what I say. Sir, I invite your attention to paragraph 3 in the resolution, which I think is very significant and very important. Paragraph 3 envisages the future constitution of India. I do not know what is the intention of the mover of the resolution, but I take it that it is a sort of, after this resolution is passed, it will act as a sort of a directive to the Constituent Assembly to frame the Constitution in terms of paragraph 3 of the resolution. What does paragraph 3 speak of? Paragraph 3 says that in this country there shall be two different sets of polity. One at the bottom, the autonomous provinces or the states, or such other areas as dare to join the United India. These autonomous units will have full powers. They will have also residuary powers. At the top and over the provincial units, there will be a union government having certain subjects for legislation, for execution and for administration. So as I read this part of the resolution, I do not find any reference to the idea of grouping an intermediary structure between the union on the one hand and the provinces on the other. Now, reading this paragraph in the light of the Cabinet Mission's statement, or reading it even in the light of the resolution passed, having said that we do not want a strong center, and having accepted that there must be or should be an intermediate polity, a sub-federation between the union government and the provinces, I like to know why there is no reference in paragraph 3 to the idea of grouping. I quite understand that the Congress Party, the Muslim League and His Majesty's government is not ad idem on the interpretation of that particular idea about grouping. But I always thought, and I will be prepared to stand corrected if it's shown that I am wrong, that at least it was agreed by the Congress Party that if the provinces who are to be within the different groups consent to form a union or a sub-federation, the Congress would have no objection to that proposal. I believe I am correct in interpreting the mind of the Congress Party. So the question that I ask is this: why did not the mover of this resolution make reference to the idea of having a union of the provinces or group of provinces on the terms on which he and his party was prepared to accept? Why is the idea of union completely effaced from this resolution? I find no answer.
Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was a true patriot, democrat, visionary and philosopher who wanted to see India a great nation of the world, which is evident from his speeches. Following are few excerpts from his various speeches. I feel that the Constitution is workable. It is flexible and it is strong enough to hold the country together, both in peacetime and in wartime. Indeed, if I may say so, if things go wrong under the new Constitution, the reason will not be that we had a bad Constitution, but we will have to say is that man was vile. I do not want that our loyalty as Indian should be in slightest way affected by any competitive loyalty, whether that loyalty rises out of our religion, out of our culture, out of our language. I want all Indians to be Indians first, Indians last and nothing else. There is no nation of Indians in the real sense of the word. It is yet to be created. In believing we are a nation, we are cherishing a great delusion. How can people divided into thousands of castes be a nation? The sooner we realize that we are not yet a nation in a social and psychological sense of the word, the better for us. On 26 January 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions. In politics, we will have equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. In politics, we will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote, and one vote, one value. In our social and economic life, we shall, by reason of our social and economic structure, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. How long shall we continue to live this life of contradictions? How long shall we continue to deny equality in our social and economic life? If we continue to deny it for long, we will do so only by putting our political democracy in peril. We must remove this contradiction at the earliest possible moment, else those who suffer from inequality will blow up the structure of democracy which this Constituent Assembly so laboriously built up. My social philosophy may be said to be enshrined in three words: liberty, equality and fraternity. My philosophy has roots in religion and not in political science. I had derived them from the teachings of my master, the Buddha. Freedom of mind is the real freedom. A person whose mind is not free, though he may not be in chains, is a slave, not a free man. One whose mind is not free, though he may not be in prison, is a prisoner and not a free man. One whose mind is not free, though alive, is no better than dead. Freedom of mind is the proof of one's existence. Being grateful has limitations. No man can be grateful at the cost of his dignity, no woman at the cost of her chastity, and no country at the cost of its freedom. Democracy is not a form of government, but a form of social organization. What we must do is not to content ourselves with mere political democracy. We must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. Political democracy cannot last unless there is at the base of it a social democracy. What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality and fraternity as the principles of life. These principles of liberty, equality and fraternity are not to be treated as separate items. They form a union in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. Liberty cannot be divorced from equality, nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity. Let us fulfill the dreams of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar and make India truly great. Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat.